The wind howled outside the Antarctic Observatory. Inside, Dr. Sarah Chen rubbed her tired eyes. She had been staring at screens for hours. The 35-year-old astrophysicist was known for her dedication. But tonight was different. Something strange had caught her attention. "Hey, Mike, can you come look at this?" Sarah called to her assistant. Mike walked over, a steaming cup of coffee in his hand. "What's up, Doc?" he asked, his breath visible in the cold air. Sarah pointed at her screen. "See this signal? It's not like anything I've seen before." Mike leaned in, his forehead wrinkled in concentration. "Weird. Where's it coming from?" "That's the thing," Sarah said, excitement creeping into her voice. "It's not from any known source. I think it might be alien." Mike's eyes widened. He almost dropped his coffee. "Are you serious?" Sarah nodded, her heart racing. "We need to alert the team. This could be the discovery of the century." Within an hour, the quiet observatory was buzzing with activity. Scientists huddled around computers, talking in excited whispers. Sarah stood in the center, directing the research. "Team, focus on decoding the signal," she ordered. "And someone get me the director on the phone. He needs to know about this immediately." As the hours ticked by, the excitement grew. The signal was strong and clear. It was definitely coming from space, but not from any known star or planet. It was moving. "Dr. Chen," a young researcher called out, "I think we've made progress on decoding the signal." Sarah rushed over. Her eyes scanned the screen, taking in the partially decoded message. Her excitement turned to confusion, then to fear. "This can't be right," she muttered. "Run it again." The researcher nodded and started the process over. Sarah paced back and forth, her mind racing. If the partial decode was correct, this wasn't a friendly message. It wasn't a greeting or an invitation. It was a threat. The computer beeped. The decode was complete. Sarah read the message, her face growing pale. "Attention Earth. Prepare for ASSI Lady. Bolin. Resistance is futile." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at Sarah, waiting for her reaction. Sarah took a deep breath. "Okay, people, this is not a drill. Mike, get the director on the phone now. Tell him it's an emergency. The rest of you, I want everything we have on this signal. Origin, speed, estimated time of arrival. Everything." As the team scrambled to work, Sarah looked out the window at the endless Antarctic snow. Just yesterday, their biggest worry had been securing funding for next year's research. Now, they were facing a threat from the stars. The phone rang. It was the director. "Sir," Sarah said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We've detected an alien signal. It's a warning. Or a threat. We're not sure yet. But whatever it is, it's heading our way." There was a long pause on the other end. Then, "I'm on my way. And I'm calling an emergency meeting with the UN. This goes beyond our observatory now. Dr. Chen. The whole world needs to know." Sarah hung up and turned to her team. They all looked scared, but determined. "Listen up, everyone," she said. "What we do in the next few hours could determine the fate of our entire planet. I know it's scary. I'm scared too. But we're scientists. This is what we've trained for, to face the unknown, to solve impossible problems. And that's exactly what we're going to do." She paused, looking each member of her team in the eye. "The world doesn't know it yet, but they're counting on us. So let's get to work. We have a planet to save." As the team returned to their tasks with renewed energy, Sarah turned back to her computer. The signal was still there, steady and ominous. Whatever was coming, they would be ready. They had to be. The future of humanity depended on it. Outside, the Antarctic wind continued to howl, oblivious to the monumental discovery made within the observatory's walls. The first contact with alien life had been made, but instead of joy and wonder, it had brought fear and uncertainty. The greatest adventure and the greatest threat in human history had begun. The United Nations building in New York was in chaos. World leaders had gathered for an emergency session, and the tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. Secretary General Amina Khalil stood at the podium, her usually calm face etched with worry. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice echoing through the packed room. "We face a threat unlike any in human history. An alien force is heading towards Earth with the intention of assimilation." A murmur of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Some leaders looked skeptical, others terrified. "I know this sounds unbelievable," Amina continued, "but the evidence is clear. Dr. Sarah Chen from the Antarctic Observatory will now present her findings." Sarah stepped up to the podium, her heart pounding. She had never spoken to such an important audience before, but as she began to explain her discovery, her scientific training took over. "The signal we intercepted is unmistakably artificial and of extraterrestrial origin," she said, pointing to charts and graphs on the big screen behind her. "Its trajectory suggests it will reach our solar system within a year." The room erupted into chaos. Leaders shouted questions and demands. Some called for immediate military action. Others insisted it must be a hoax. Amina raised her hands for silence. "We must act now, and we must act together," she said firmly. "I propose we create a secret task force. Its mission will be to prepare Earth's defenses against this threat." After hours of heated debate, the leaders finally agreed. They would call it Project Safeguard. "And who will lead this task force?" the French president asked. All eyes turned to Sarah. She felt a chill run down her spine as Amina said, "Dr. Chen, your expertise and quick thinking brought this threat to our attention. Will you lead Project Safeguard?" Sarah hesitated for a moment. She was a scientist, not a military leader, but she knew she couldn't refuse. I accept," she said, her voice stronger than she felt. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Sarah found herself in a secret underground facility, surrounded by the brightest minds from around the world. There was Lai Wei, a Chinese quantum physicist with wild hair and wilder ideas. Maria Rodriguez, a Brazilian engineer who could build anything from scraps. And Captain John Smith, a stoic British military strategist who had seen more battles than anyone else on the team. "All right, team," Sarah said during their first meeting. "We have less than a year to prepare Earth for an alien invasion. Any ideas?" "We could try to communicate with them," suggested Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a linguist from Japan. "Maybe we can negotiate." Captain Smith shook his head. The message was clear. "They're not here to talk." "Then we fight," said Dr. Oluwaseun Adebayo, a Nigerian weapons expert. "We need to develop new technologies, weapons they've never seen before." Ideas flew back and forth. Some seemed promising, others impossible. But Sarah encouraged them all. "Remembered," she said, "a year ago, the idea of aliens invading Earth seemed impossible too. We need to think outside the box." As the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, Project Safeguard made progress. They developed new energy shields, gravity-based weapons, and even started work on Earth's first true spaceship. But it wasn't enough. Sarah knew they needed more time. One night, as she was working late in her office, an alarm blared. She rushed to the control room. "What's happening?" she demanded. Mario was at the main console, her face pale. "We've detected a small ship entering the solar system," she said. "It's not following the main signal. It's heading straight for Earth." Sarah felt her blood run cold. They weren't ready. Earth wasn't ready. "How long do we have?" she asked. "At its current speed," Maria calculated quickly. 3 days. Sarah took a deep breath. 3 days to prepare for humanity's first encounter with alien life. 3 days that could determine the fate of the entire planet. "Alert all world leaders," she ordered, "and get the team together. We have work to do." As alarms sounded throughout the facility, Sarah looked at the big screen showing the approaching ship. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. The future of humanity depended on it. The tension in Project Safeguard's control room was palpable. All eyes were fixed on the giant screen showing the alien ship's approach. It was now just hours away from Earth's orbit. Dr. Sarah Chen paced back and forth, her mind racing. "Are our defense systems ready?" she asked, turning to Maria. Maria nodded, her fingers flying over her keyboard. "Energy shields are at full power. Gravity weapons are primed." "But Sarah," she hesitated, "we've never tested these against actual alien technology. We don't know if they'll work." Sarah was about to respond when suddenly the screen flickered. The image of the approaching ship disappeared, replaced by a face. An alien face. Gasps echoed around the room. The alien had a humanoid shape, but its skin was a deep purple, with glowing markings that pulsed with an inner light. Its eyes, large and entirely black, seemed to stare right through the screen. "People of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice surprisingly melodious. "We come in peace." Sarah exchanged shocked glances with her team. This wasn't the hostile invasion they'd been expecting. "We are the exiles," the alien continued. "We seek refuge from the Galactic Empire, the true threat to your world." For the next hour, the exiles explained their situation. They were a group of rebels, fleeing from the oppressive rule of the Empire. They had intercepted the Empire's plans to assimilate Earth and had rushed ahead to warn humanity. "We offer an exchange," the exile leader, who called himself Zix, proposed. "Grant us sanctuary on your world, and we will share our advanced technology to help you defend against the Empire." The UN Security Council, hastily assembled via video conference, debated furiously. Some leaders were eager for the advanced tech. Others were suspicious of the exiles' true motives. "Dr. Chen," the Secretary General finally said, "you've been leading our defense efforts. What do you think?" Sarah felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. She took a deep breath. "I think we need to take this chance. The exiles' technology could be our only hope against the Empire." After more debate, the world leaders agreed. The exiles were granted permission to land. The landing site was a flurry of activity. Military personnel, scientists, and government officials waited with bated breath as the sleek alien ship descended from the sky. As the ship's doors opened, Sarah stepped forward to greet Zix. Up close, the alien was even more striking. The glowing markings on his skin shifted and swirled, almost hypnotic. "Welcome to Earth," Sarah said, extending her hand. Zix looked at her hand curiously, then mimicked the gesture. His touch was warm, almost electric. "Thank you, Dr. Chen. We are grateful for your trust." Over the next few days, the exiles began sharing their technology. It was beyond anything Sarah had ever imagined. Force fields that could repel any attack, energy weapons that could disable entire ships, and faster-than-light communication devices. But as amazing as the tech was, Sarah couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Something about the exiles didn't quite add up. Late one night, as she was reviewing some of the exiles' schematics, she noticed something odd. A hidden subroutine in their communication device. With growing horror, she realized what it was. A tracker. The exiles' devices were secretly broadcasting Earth's location and defenses to someone else. Heart pounding, Sarah rushed to alert her team and the world leaders. But as she reached for her phone, the lights in her lab suddenly went out. "I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Dr. Chen," came Zix's voice from the darkness. Sarah spun around. Zix stood in the doorway, his markings glowing ominously. "You've been very helpful," Zix said, his friendly demeanor gone. "Thanks to you, the Empire now has everything it needs to conquer your world." As Sarah's eyes widened in shock, Zix raised a strange device. There was a flash of light, and then darkness. The trap had been sprung, and Earth had walked right into it. Sarah's head throbbed as she slowly regained consciousness. She found herself in a small, dimly lit room. As her eyes adjusted, she realized she wasn't alone. Her team members, Maria, Lai Wei, and Captain Smith, were there too, all looking as confused and groggy as she felt. "What happened?" Maria groaned, rubbing her head. Before Sarah could answer, the door slid open. Zix entered, flanked by 2 other exiles. "I hope you're comfortable," Zix said, his tone mocking. "You'll be our guests for a while." Sarah glared at him. "Why? Why betray us like this?" Zix's markings pulsed with amusement. "Betray? My dear doctor, we never betrayed you. We simply didn't tell you the whole truth. We are indeed exiles. Exiled from the Empire for our failures. This mission is our chance at redemption." As Zix continued to explain, Sarah's mind raced. They needed to escape, to warn Earth about the true nature of the exiles and the coming Empire invasion. Suddenly, an alarm blared. One of Zix's guards whispered something in his ear. Zix's markings flashed with anger. "It seems some of your human friends are causing trouble. Excuse me while I deal with this inconvenience." As soon as Zix left, Sarah turned to her team. "We need to get out of here. Any ideas?" Lai Wei's eyes lit up. "The force field technology they showed us. I think I can reverse it to create a localized explosion. It might be enough to break us out." "Do it," Sarah nodded. While Lai Wei worked, using scraps of alien tech they'd managed to hide, Sarah filled the others in on what she'd discovered about the tracking devices. "If we get out," Captain Smith said grimly, "we'll need to disable those trackers and find a way to contact Earth's leaders." Minutes felt like hours as Lai Wei tinkered. Finally, he looked up. "It's ready. Everyone, get back." The makeshift device hummed, then exploded in a burst of energy. The door was blown off its hinges. Alarms blared as they ran through the alien ship's corridors. They could hear shouts and footsteps following them. "There," Maria pointed. "That looks like a communication room." They burst in, quickly overpowering the surprised exile operator. Captain Smith stood guard at the door, while Sarah and Maria worked on the alien console. "I think I can send a message to Earth," Maria said, her fingers flying over the strange symbols. "But I can't disable the trackers from here." Sarah made a quick decision. "Send the warning. Tell them about the exiles' betrayal and the coming Empire invasion. We'll find another way to deal with the trackers." As Maria sent the message, Lai Wei called out from a corner of the room. "Dr. Chen, I think I've found something." He was standing in front of what looked like a storage unit. Inside were rows of small, glowing devices. Sarah's eyes widened in recognition. "Those are the trackers. Quick, we need to destroy them." They grabbed the devices, smashing them against the floor and walls. With each destroyed tracker, Sarah felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe they could still save Earth. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. Through the room's viewport, they saw Earth growing smaller. "No," Sarah gasped. "They're leaving orbit." Captain Smith, still at the door, shouted a warning. "Company's coming. We need to move." As they ran from the room, dodging energy blasts from pursuing exiles, Sarah's mind whirled. They were trapped on an alien ship, heading towards an invading armada. Earth now knew about the betrayal, but was it enough? How could they possibly stop an entire empire? They rounded a corner and found themselves in a large hangar. And there, sitting unguarded, was a small alien shuttle. "Anyone know how to fly one of those?" Sarah asked, a desperate plan forming in her mind. Lai Wei grinned. "After all the alien tech I've studied, I can try." As they sprinted towards the shuttle, alarms blaring around them, Sarah felt a mix of fear and determination. They were Earth's last hope, a small team of humans against a vast alien empire. But as she looked at her team's determined faces, Sarah allowed herself to feel a spark of hope. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, and they'd always found a way to survive. Now, it was time to take the fight to the stars. The stolen alien shuttle hurtled through space, its human occupants still coming to terms with their sudden cosmic journey. Lai Wei sat at the controls, his forehead beaded with sweat, as he navigated the unfamiliar technology. "Any sign of pursuit?" Sarah asked, peering out at the star-studded blackness. Captain Smith shook his head. "Nothing yet, but we can't assume we're in the clear." Suddenly, Maria called out from her station. "I'm picking up a massive energy signature ahead. It must be the Empire's fleet." Sarah's heart raced. They were heading straight for humanity's greatest threat. As they approached, the sheer scale of the Empire's armada became clear. Hundreds of ships, each larger than any spacecraft humanity had ever built, hung in the void like a swarm of metal insects. "We need to get closer," Sarah said. "If we can gather intel on their defenses, maybe Earth will have a chance." Lai Wei skillfully maneuvered their small craft through the outskirts of the fleet. The humans watched in awe and terror as gigantic battleships and sleek fighters passed by. "Wait," Maria said suddenly. "I'm picking up a transmission. It's from Earth." They listened intently as a familiar voice crackled through the shuttle speakers. It was General Rodriguez, the military liaison to Project Safeguard. To all Earth forces, the general's voice was tense but determined. "The alien threat is real and imminent, but we are not defenseless. Thanks to Dr. Chen's warning, we've prepared a surprise for our uninvited guests. All units prepare to engage. Operation Trojan Horse is a go." Sarah and her team exchanged shocked glances. Earth was planning to attack. Before they could process this, alarms blared in their shuttle. "We've been spotted," Lai Wei shouted, banking the craft hard to avoid a sudden barrage of energy blasts. Through the chaos, they saw an incredible sight. A massive portal was opening near Mars, and from it emerged Earth's secret weapon, the INS Shiva, humanity's first true warship. The Shiva was a masterpiece of human engineering and alien technology, built in secret using knowledge gleaned from the exiles. It was smaller than the Empire's ships, but it moved with an agility that took the alien fleet by surprise. "They did it," Sarah whispered in awe. "They actually built it." The battle that ensued was beyond anything they could have imagined. The Shiva darted between the massive Empire ships, its advanced shields deflecting their attacks while it fired strange, gravity-based weapons that tore into the alien hulls. But the Empire's numbers were overwhelming. For every ship the Shiva took down, 3 more took its place. The humans watched with growing despair as the Earth ship began to take heavy damage. "We have to help them," Sarah said, her mind racing. "Li Wei, can you get us closer to the Shiva?" Lai Wei nodded grimly, steering their shuttle into the heart of the battle. Energy blasts and debris filled space around them as they dodged and weaved through the chaos. As they neared the Shiva, Sarah opened a communication channel. "Shiva, this is Dr. Chen. We're in a stolen alien shuttle. We have critical information about the Empire's weaknesses. Request immediate pickup." There was a moment of stunned silence, then a jubilant response. "Dr. Chen, your timing is impeccable. Proceed to docking bay 2. And hurry." Lai Wei guided their battered shuttle into the Shiva's docking bay, just as another volley of Empire fire rocked the ship. As they disembarked, they were met by a squad of armed soldiers and a familiar face, General Rodriguez himself. "Dr. Chen," the general said, relief evident in his voice. "We thought we'd lost you. But now isn't the time for reunions. We're taking a beating out there. Please tell me you have something that can turn this fight around." Sarah nodded, her mind already formulating a plan. "We do, General. But it's risky. We need to get to the bridge immediately." As they raced through the corridors of humanity's greatest warship, Sarah felt the weight of Earth's fate on her shoulders. They had one chance to outsmart the Empire, to prove that humanity wouldn't go down without a fight. The battle for Earth had truly begun. And against all odds, Sarah allowed herself to hope. Because if there was one thing humans were good at, it was beating impossible odds. The bridge of the INS Shiva was a hive of activity. Officers shouted orders as the ship shuddered under the Empire's relentless assault. Sarah and her team rushed in, followed closely by General Rodriguez. "Status report," the general barked. "Shields at 30%, sir," a young officer replied, her voice tense. "We've taken out several of their smaller ships, but their main fleet is still intact." Sarah stepped forward. "General, we have crucial information about the Empire's defenses, but first, we need to contact Earth immediately." The general nodded, gesturing to a communications officer. Within moments, they were connected to the United Nations Emergency Council. "Dr. Chen." Secretary General Amina's voice was filled with relief. "We feared the worst when you disappeared. What's the situation?" Sarah took a deep breath. "Madam Secretary, the exiles betrayed us. They're working for the Empire. But that's not all." She glanced at her team, then continued, "We believe the Empire has been deceiving us from the start." A murmur of confusion rippled through both the bridge and the UN transmission. Sarah quickly explained their discoveries, the hidden trackers, the inconsistencies in the exile story. "We think this whole invasion might be an elaborate test," she concluded. "The Empire isn't trying to conquer us. They're assessing us." The implications of this revelation were staggering. If true, it meant that everything they thought they knew about the situation was wrong. "But why?" Amina asked, her voice filled with disbelief. "Why go to such lengths?" It was Lai Wei who answered. "In our studies of their technology, we noticed something odd. Their systems are incredibly advanced, but also stagnant. They haven't innovated in centuries. We think they're looking for races with the potential for rapid advancement and adaptability." "Like humans," Maria added. "We took their technology and improved it in months. That's probably unprecedented for them." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. The future of humanity now hinged on this theory being correct. General Rodriguez was the first to speak. "If you're right, how do we use this to our advantage?" Sarah's mind raced. "We need to show them something they've never seen before, something uniquely human." Her eyes lit up as an idea formed. "And I think I know just the thing." For the next hour, as the battle raged around them, Sarah and her team worked feverishly. They combined Earth's most cutting-edge technology with the alien systems of the Shiva, creating a hybrid system that was entirely new. "It's ready," Sarah announced, her voice a mix of exhaustion and excitement. "This program will allow us to hack into the Empire's ships, disrupting their communications and controls. It's based on human computer viruses, something their ancient systems have never encountered." The general looked skeptical. "And you're sure this will work?" Sarah met his gaze steadily. "No, sir. But right now, it's our best shot." With a nod from the general, they activated the program. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, chaos erupted. Empire ships began to drift aimlessly. Some fired on each other, their targeting systems gone haywire. Through the view screen, they watched as the mighty armada fell into disarray. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but Sarah remained tense. This was the moment of truth. Suddenly, all Empire ships went dark. A massive hologram appeared in space, depicting a regal alien figure. Its voice boomed across all frequencies. "People of Earth," it said, its tone a mix of amusement and respect. "You have passed the test. In all our millennia of exploration, no race has ever detected our deception, let alone countered it so effectively." The hologram went on to explain that the Empire wasn't a conquering force, but a galactic evaluation committee. They sought out promising young races to join their interstellar alliance. As the implications of this sank in, Sarah felt a whirlwind of emotions: relief, anger at being manipulated, and a growing sense of excitement. Humanity had just been thrust onto a cosmic stage. The Earth forces were wary, but intrigued. As discussions began between human leaders and the Empire representatives, Sarah and her team shared a moment of quiet triumph. They had faced the ultimate challenge and emerged victorious. Now, A universe of possibilities lay before them. The adventure, it seemed, was just beginning. The days following the Empire's revelation were a whirlwind of activity. Earth's leaders engaged in intense negotiations with the galactic representatives, while the public grappled with the realization that they were not alone in the universe. Dr. Sarah Chen found herself at the center of it all. Her quick thinking and innovative solution had not only saved Earth, but had also catapulted humanity onto the galactic stage. As she stood before the United Nations General Assembly, Sarah felt the weight of history on her shoulders. The eyes of the world, and beyond, were upon her. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. "We stand at a crossroads. The Empire has invited us to join their galactic alliance, but the decision is ours to make." She paused, looking out at the sea of faces. Their technology is advanced, their knowledge vast. But their methods, their deception, raises serious concerns. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. Moreover, Sarah continued, "We've proven that humanity has something unique to offer. Our adaptability, our creativity, our ability to innovate. These are our strengths. Do we really want to join an alliance that values conformity over progress?" The chamber erupted in debate. Some argued for joining the Empire, citing the benefits of advanced technology and galactic protection. Others, wary of the Empire's deceptive tactics, pushed for isolation. As the arguments raged, a message arrived from the Empire's flagship. The Galactic Council was growing impatient. They demanded an answer. Would Earth join them, or face the consequences of refusal? The assembly fell silent. The weight of the decision pressed down on everyone present. It was Secretary General Amina who finally spoke. "Dr. Chen," she said, her voice filled with resolve, "you've led us this far. What do you suggest we do?" Sarah took a deep breath. She thought of all they'd been through, of the ingenuity and courage humans had shown in the face of overwhelming odds. "We thank the Empire for their invitation," she said slowly, choosing her words carefully. "But we respectfully decline." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Sarah raised her hand for silence. Instead, she continued, "We propose an alternative. Humanity will forge its own path among the stars. We'll create a new alliance, one based on mutual respect and the free exchange of ideas. Any civilization, including members of the Empire, who share these values are welcome to join us." For a moment, there was stunned silence. Then, gradually, applause began to build. It grew into a thunderous ovation as the implications of Sarah's words sank in. The response from the Empire was swift and furious. Their ships, still in orbit around Earth, powered up their weapons. It seemed that humanity's defiance would be met with destruction. But Sarah and her team were prepared. As the Empire's ships charged their main cannons, a signal was sent from Earth. Instantly, the hybrid virus they had created during the battle reactivated, spreading through the Empire's fleet. Within moments, the mighty armada was reduced to floating, powerless husks. Earth's own ships, led by the INS Shiva, moved into defensive positions. On the main view screen, the face of the Empire's leader appeared, twisted with rage. "You dare to defy us, to turn our own technology against us." Sarah stepped forward, her head held high. "We dare," she said simply. "You came here to test us. Well, consider this our final exam. Humanity will not be bullied or deceived. We choose our own destiny." For a tense moment, it seemed the Empire might lash out in spite of their disabled ships. But then, surprisingly, the alien leader's expression shifted from anger to something like respect. "Perhaps," it said slowly, "we have underestimated you, humans. Your species possesses a spirit we have not encountered in millennia. We will withdraw, for now. But know that the galaxy will be watching your progress with great interest." As the Empire's ships retreated, leaving Earth's orbit, a cheer went up around the world. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but ready to take its place among the stars. In the days that followed, Preparations began for Earth's new role as a galactic power. Plans were drawn up for deep space exploration, diplomatic missions to other worlds, and the establishment of Earth's first extrasolar colonies. Sarah, standing on the observation deck of the Shiva, looked out at the star-filled sky. The universe, once so vast and unknowable, now felt full of possibilities. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. And she, along with every human on Earth, was ready to face whatever challenges the cosmos might bring. For they had proven, beyond any doubt, that humanity was capable of incredible things when united against impossible odds. The stars were calling, and humanity was ready to answer.